Red Bull has summarized the first half of the season and revealed shocking truths about the performance of the RB20. Where did the team go wrong? Why did they decide to change the concept? And when can we expect these changes? You'll find out all about this right now. Red Bull admitted that they made a mistake in the design of the RB20, and this is directly related to the transition to a new concept. Although Red Bull won every race but one in 2023, they didn't rest on their laurels but instead put in a tremendous amount of work to improve the car to stay at the top of Formula One in the next season, which included the transition to a new concept. The bold move seemed to pay off, as Red Bull finished 1, 2, and 3 of the first 4 Grand Prix and clearly had the best car. But as the season went on and competitors introduced updates, this advantage disappeared, and problems with the car that seemed not to exist before came to the forefront. In particular, the car's instability on bumps and curbs became very noticeable this season. At first, it seemed like just a feature of the car paying for good performance and an advantage in fast corners. But as we saw in Silverstone and Spa, this advantage is also gone. Responding to journalists' questions about the car's current performance and the team's expectations, Red Bull's technical director, Pierre Wash, admitted that the team's hopes were not fulfilled. I would say not really. We improved compared to last year, without doubt, but we didn't deliver what we expected in some areas. Especially in the high-speed corners, we expected a little bit more than what we have. Without thinking about the competitiveness of the car, so just based on our own references, we expected a little bit more with our tools. In medium speed and low speed, we improved quite a lot compared to last year. We were a little bit weaker in the high-speed corners compared to last year relative to the competition. In curb riding, we are clearly weak, but we were already last year. I think we didn't make the improvement we expected in that aspect. Analyzing why the car's actual performance does not match the expected performance, Pierre Wash suggested that it might be due to restrictions on testing in the wind tunnel. As the leading team in the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull has the least time for testing, which could have played a role. However, last season they also had the least testing time and faced a penalty for exceeding the budget in 2021. But this did not stop them from building possibly the most dominant car in Formula One. So what went wrong this time? Perhaps Red Bull took too many risks by changing the concept, which, according to rumors, Adrian Newey was against. Additionally, the overall impression of the car's performance is worsened by the rapid progress of other teams. At the start of the season, a dominant season was expected, and there were no discussions about RB20 problems, but these issues emerged after the rapid progress of McLaren and Mercedes. It seems this is what Red Bull feared, leading them to make a radical change in concept, but they may have overdone it. Attempts to secure a comfortable advantage and establish a strong base for future updates caused Red Bull to go too far, resulting in an unwanted outcome. I think we pushed the boundary a little bit high and, in some areas, maybe too much. And that has created some characteristics that are not designed for the driver. The success is coming, not by yourself, but is also coming by the relative performance to the others. Last year, we were fortunate that the others didn't do as good a job as they have done this year. I think that is also an aspect we have to take into account. RB20 is a better car than RB19. However, maybe we could do a better job, and that's what we are trying to fix for the end of the season and for next year, to give the driver a better tool to be able to fight. Unwanted characteristics mentioned include understeer and overall imbalance, which are major complaints about the RB20. Vasha explained that both drivers are experiencing the same fundamental issues with the RB20 due to its understeer and general dissatisfaction with the balance, which is a key factor preventing a repeat of the RB19's performance. But how much is this related to the radical change in concept made by Red Bull? And could it have been avoided by developing the previous car? The RB19 was a simple evolution of the RB18, but delivered excellent performance and phenomenal stability at every track. Engineers and drivers understood the car well and could easily adjust it to any track conditions, thanks to its wide operating window. So, perhaps Red Bull took too many risks and could have succeeded with improvements to the previous concept. At most Grand Prix this season, the new cars were more than a second faster than their predecessors, which is a significant difference. But considering the advantage of the RB19, with minor improvements, it could have become one of the best cars of the season. However, Red Bull couldn't be sure of this, so according to Vache, the team decided to take a risk and opted for a quicker way to achieve performance by changing the concept. As I mentioned, the competition is tighter, and it is more difficult, With what we have in terms of aero development time compared to others, and the tools we have to be sure that developing the previous concept would give us the best results. When you want to make a step of performance, it is easier to find performance with less time than others on the aero side by changing the concept. That is why we took this risk. It doesn't mean this was the correct one. I cannot answer that question to say what was the best choice, but it's what we've done for this reason. The change in concept did indeed provide a quick boost in performance. The RB20 was by far the best car at the start of the season. However, the steps taken by McLaren and Mercedes changed the situation, and it seems that the upgrades they introduced had a greater impact on their cars than the updates from Red Bull. Perhaps Red Bull was the first to reach the limits of the current regulations, or the concept they chose provided a rapid increase in performance but doesn't offer much scope for further improvement and has already reached its limit. Wacha admitted that the team is finding it increasingly difficult to develop the car. There is no limit to development, but each new update brings diminishing returns. Furthermore, the team understands that the RB20 is currently not good enough to allow drivers to fight for victory in every race. But considering that Verstappen and Red Bull are still leading in both championships with 10 races remaining and a battle with McLaren in the Constructors' Championship, what will they choose? Will they continue to develop the car for the rest of the year and keep the concept unchanged for 2025? Or will they once again take the risk of radical changes to the car to gain a greater advantage? Pierre Wash addressed this question and effectively confirmed a switch to a new concept for the next year. At the moment, the idea is to develop this car as much as possible, because the championship is there to be fought and we'll try to win it, both championships. Then, next year, we evaluate the concept that we will put on track, that it will be different than this year for sure, and try to find another step of performance. Switching to a new concept next season will confirm that the current car has reached its limit and that Red Bull can no longer effectively improve its performance. All that can be done now is to introduce small updates aimed at improving the car's stability, or use major updates for specific tracks, as was the case in Hungary and will be in some upcoming Grand Prix. However, such updates are track-specific and do not enhance the car's overall performance across all circuits. As mentioned earlier, switching to a new concept is the easiest way to quickly gain performance, provided the team does not make a miscalculation and encounter unexpected issues. But will Red Bull manage this task? This season, the car already has characteristics that the team did not anticipate and which have become a serious issue for the drivers. Will Red Bull handle the switch to a new concept in a season where they need to actively work on adapting to new regulations? We will only find out next season, and for now, that's all for today. Subscribe, like the video if you enjoyed it, dislike if not, and share your thoughts in the comments.